How's it going? Phil here. Hope you're doing really well. Hope you are ready for Christmas. In today's training, we are going to cover how to prepare for your weight loss journey in January. I nearly didn't do this training because I've been unwell. You can see I've got a swollen red nose from a sinus issue. Very, very appropriate for this time of year. I look like Rudolph or like an alcoholic boxer because it's swollen and red. But I wanted to do the training anyway because what I want to cover is what you can do to prepare for January that will increase the likelihood that you not only achieve your goals, but you do it in a way that's sustainable. That is what I want. I don't want you to spend next year the same way as this year, possibly many other years in the past. Here's why this is important. Here's what happens if you get this wrong. If you don't prepare and do the things I'm going to teach you, this is what happens. And you'll probably be familiar with this. You'll probably agree with everything I say here. This is what most men do. If we take this as time, we have that as January, December. We'll talk about it in terms of just next year. People tend to like to look at goals in terms of years, right? Weight loss here. I would be very confident in saying that many of you have done this in the past. Lost weight pretty quickly for a few weeks. Get to about February. We'll call this mid-February. And then all the weight you've lost comes back. Pissed off, frustrated, you lost motivation. And then in terms of what the rest of the year probably looks like, you spend some time here, maybe try again, maybe it fails. Maybe you do well for a summer holiday, and it comes back down. And before you know it, we're back to December. And you're watching another video like this. If that resonates with you, good. I'm going to fix that problem for you in this video. What we want, obviously, is more like this. And at some point, it doesn't matter. I don't know when it's going to be for you. It might take longer than a year, but typically, like most of the guys I work with in a year will lose anywhere from 6 to 8 stone. So for the majority of you watching this video, at some point here, you are going to find the weight you want to be, and you're going to be happy. And you're going to be able to, the key here is, what I want to really emphasize is, you're going to be able to sustain this forever. Now, the 3 problems I think most guys have when it comes to January weight loss is 1, the goal setting is done poorly. 2, there's no why. Come back to why this is important in a minute. And thirdly, there's no plan. If you don't have the goals set, and I'm going to cover why I think this is going to be different. So when I say goals, you're probably thinking, my goal is just weight loss for the end of the year. We're going to cover this in a minute, but the goal setting, I think, could be done a little bit better for those of you that struggle with weight loss in January. The why is crucial because it's what leverages your kind of emotions to get you to take actions that you don't want to do. We all know that motivation is kind of fleeting. And the plan is obviously, what are you going to do? If I had you on this Zoom call now, and I put your mic on and I said, Dave, what your goals? And you're like, I want to lose weight for good. And I said, how? How are you specifically going to do it? I could imagine if I asked 100 men that, I know this because I ask them it all the time, their typical response, especially in January, is going to be, I'm going to cut out rubbish. I'm going to do dry January. I'm not going to have alcohol. I'm going to join the gym. It's not really a plan, is it? It's like me saying, how can I say to a business owner, how are you going to make more money next year? And they just go, I'm going to sell more stuff. But how? But what are you going to do? What's the marketing campaign? Like, what's the prices? What's the processes? What are the systems? Who's going to do what? Who's going to do what job? Like you need to have the details, because if you don't have these things in place, if you haven't got the goal set, you don't have the direction, you haven't got the why, you haven't got the leverage against things like a lack of motivation. I'm going to come back to why it's important in a minute. And if you don't have the plan, you don't have the details, the boxes to tick that allow you to move forwards in a more predictable manner than if you just wing it. So goal setting is important. I think the best thing for you guys to do is, if you're struggling with weight loss in January, is, let's have a look what we can do here. I would set a 6-week goal. Yeah, you're not going to change the world in 6 weeks, but this is what I want to kind of get you into the mindset of is, if we get rid of this, if this issue here, where a lot of you are quitting, is going to be within 4 to 8 weeks, it makes sense to have some goals to get you there. Because if you have goals set for that period, what I want you to do is I want you to win. Had a client, a few years ago, who lost in the course of it was just over a year. It was about 13 and a half months, but basically a year. He lost about 7.5 stone. That's a long journey. He actually came to me. He was like, I'm 39. I'm going to be 40 in a year or so. I need to sort myself out for my 40th birthday. I'm not getting any younger. It's a long journey. We didn't focus on the end goal. It was nice to get there, but it was like, if you just say to yourself every day, imagine that you had 105 pounds to lose. Imagine that coming down a pound or two a week. The journey feels very, very, it can feel quite disheartening. You guys are losing motivation here. I think you can overcome lack of motivation by winning. What wins can you get here? Can you lose 3 kilos? Can you do 5 push-ups? Can you get to the end of 6 weeks and say, hand on heart, I did 10,000 steps every day? What can you do so that when you get to that point, you can focus on what you've achieved, and you can say, fuck, I've done this in 6 weeks. What's going to happen in the next 6 weeks? Think of it like a little sprint instead of instead of a marathon of like weight loss. It's what can I do in these little blocks of time. So 6 weeks has to be realistic, achievable. So don't set yourself a goal for 6 weeks to lose 2 stone. And I know some men will do this, and that's why I say it sounds stupid to me, but there'll be so many men that are like, in those first 6 weeks, I want to lose 3 stone. I think you could do a stone. Do maybe a stone and a half if some of it's water weight, but you're not going to do 2 or 3 stone. And remember, the quicker you do it, the more likely it is you're going to regain it. So a 6-week goal, make it realistic. And of course, celebrate the fucking win or the wins. Don't say to yourself, oh, 6 weeks down, I still have to diet for 6 more months. It's not the point. The point is to celebrate what you've achieved, to reinforce yourself that you're on the right path, you're building momentum. And crucially, if you're someone that's tried a lot of times to lose weight, which will probably be you if you're watching this, there's probably a little bit of a issue with self-belief. So you need to fix that belief issue so that you can overcome these problems. So that's the goal setting. The why. This is the one I feel like it's one of those ones I still feel lame talking about it, even though I know it's worthwhile. And just to be transparent, all the stuff that we do, I'm talking about here, I'm going to do. 20 years of coaching, made bodybuilding finals, I've made powerlifting finals. I'm still going to sit and do this stuff in January because I need to kind of reset, refocus after Christmas. So I'm still going to do this. This isn't above me. So you need to do this as well. My clients will do this. So don't look at this stuff and think, it's a load of nonsense. I'll just cut out the carbs and go to the gym. Take some time to do this. That's why I said do this before January. The why, list why it sucks. Why do you hate being overweight? And don't say stuff like, oh, I'm tired all the time. What does that mean? Like, okay, you're tired all the time. But what's the consequence of being tired all the time? Peel back the layer. You come home from work and you're grumpy and it causes arguments. You fall asleep at your desk at work, you're not being as productive now that you're in your 40s and 50s, and you're thinking, shit, like, I need to set an example. I need to keep up with the young lads that are going to come in and try and, climb the corporate ladder. I can't be tired. I can't be like my eyes getting heavy. I can't be living off caffeine. I need to be active. I need to have like energy. Do you feel guilty? You come home after a few days of work and maybe your son or your daughter wants to play. Maybe your son wants to kick about the football. And you're like, oh, I just don't have the energy, son. Maybe another time I'll do it. We'll play at the weekend. Fob him off because you don't have the energy to play. How does that feel? There's something that, about being overweight that is affecting your life. There's a consequence. There's something that you hate with a passion. Could be the thought of next summer. Are you going to lay by the pool the same as you are right now or heavier? Another year where you feel self-conscious, keep your t-shirt on? Or are you going to walk around the pool and be like a superhero to your kids? Are you going to be that dad that looks great? I've got loads of clients. I've got clients now in their mid-60s who have bodies that a lot of 20-year-olds would love to have. Didn't happen overnight, but this summer's going to be a good one for them because they did the work. Write down a list of why it sucks. And don't forget that list. And when I say write it down, I mean write it down. Don't do it in here. Write it down, read it. Often clients will come to me and say, I feel I'm struggling with motivation right now. I'm starting to pick a little bit. Often this happens when they've lost enough weight to feel happy, but they're not quite where they want to be. Complacency sets in. They start to feel like, especially if you've been 3 or 4 stone overweight for the last 20 years and you lose 2, your new reality is better. I've lost 2 stone. I'm wearing clothes I haven't worn in ages, but you're not where you want to be, and people get complacent. So I'll say to them, I'll go back through their forms or their questionnaires that they've sent me. I'll ask them, we'll get on the phone. Why did we start? Is that still a problem to you? I'll say, you're on a holiday in 6 months. Do you feel good? Because obviously you look good in your clothes, but do you feel good shirtless? But they might be like, no. Why do you need to lose weight? Why is this important? Leverage. Back to this point here where the motivation starts to go, or it could be here. Could be here. Could be here. Could even be here. Need leverage. You need to tip the scales. It's like business. You put in this, but you get this out. That's why the why is important, because if you're having a time when you're struggling, you bring up those whys. You might want to, but if you've got a partner that understands this, or a friend, or you become part of a community like a coaching program like mine, it's very, very powerful when someone can remind you of them. Don't go into this just saying, I want to lose weight. The plan can't be go to the gym 3 times. The plan can't be eat well, sleep more. There's no detail in the plan. That's not a plan. So we want one for diet, training, and sustainability. You want to be able to stick to it. Under each of those, you need targets like KPIs to hit. So diet might be calories, protein. Training might be exercises, reps, sets. I'll go off the page a little bit there. Sustainability is an important one. That's going to be maybe results. What's the system to get past plateaus? What's going to be the system for sticking with it when you're struggling? So that's the why. Or you might want accountability. You might want support. And you definitely, you skip all the other ones because you're like, Phil, I can do it on my own. I know how to do this. You definitely want a flexible approach, flexible strategies. That is, how do you eat when you are on the go, client meetings, being invited to corporate events, staying in hotels, flying on planes? You know, what do you do in those circumstances where you can't physically choose the food, cook it, weigh it, prepare it? You know, for a lot of you guys, a lot of my clients, a large percentage of their meals are just, they're not in the house and they're not prepared. One client, Paul, I'll talk about him a lot, superstar, has been to over, the last time he sent me the details, he sometimes sends me his Google Analytics. And the last time he sent me them, he'd been to 250 cities in Europe. He just messaged me recently saying, I've been away 5 weeks straight, Monday to Friday, home for the weekend, Monday to Friday, home for the weekend, 5 weeks straight, still managed to lose weight. When he came to me, he was like, you know, I'm traveling on average half of the month. I come back, I eat well, I go to the gym, get things a little bit in place. You know, it takes a couple of days to get back into the routine, and I'm off again. While I'm there, lots of driving. Like I said, over 250 cities in Europe. So driving, client meetings, work, hotels, temptation, gain weight back, come back to the UK. And he was just literally yo-yoing up and down. Now he's lost over 3 stone. Well, that came from the plan I gave him in terms of nutrition and training. But a lot of it came from this. Understanding how to get results, being held accountable, and having the support. And he actually says a lot of the time, the discipline, but the discipline comes from why. So that kind of sums it up really. There's 3 things I want you to do before Christmas. You've got a gap between before Christmas, before you start in the new year. Set some short-term goals. Figure out why it's important to you. No, really dig deep. That should be very, very fucking uncomfortable, because it should be you admitting to yourself why it sucks. Some of the things may be like, you know, you feel guilty about the role model you've been for your kids, or you've been grumpy as a father, or you've been slacking in business. They should be quite challenging. That's good. The more you hate the reasons why you hate being overweight, the more leverage and power they have. And then the plan. Have a plan for your diet. That isn't just cut out carbs, stop eating junk. That is a proper plan. What targets you're going to hit, calories, protein, food choices. When are you going to train? How long? What exercises? What's the system for getting results in terms of, you know, on a week-to-week basis? How are you going to assess your progress? How are you going to change it? Who's going to hold you accountable if you need it? Who's going to support you when you're struggling? What are your strategies for eating on the go, dealing with client meetings? If you piece all that together before you start, then you can go into January with a little bit more of a kind of clear goals. So you've got a bit of an understanding of where you're going, you got an understanding of why, and you've got the plan to say, right, I wake up on Monday, I do this. I wake up Tuesday, I do this. I wake up on Wednesday, I do this. If you do that, the result should be that you start to lose weight. You blast past that mid-February low, and then you carry on until you stop. Now, if you'd like some help with that, if you'd like some help putting together the plans and understanding all of this, because you're busy and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'd rather have someone just give it to me so I can just start January and hit the ground running. Comment or send me a message if you see this on like LinkedIn or Facebook. If a comment, or just send me a private message with the words January. And if you watch this on my website, I'll just pop a button below. You can use that to schedule a chat. Enjoy your Christmas, and I'll see you soon.